Yo, what's up, my Chicago bros? I'm here today with a banger video fresh out the shower. I was like, I need to record a YouTube video, and I was like, I've seen a lot of people saying, yo, can you do a settings video, updated settings, the best pro settings? And for today, the G2 Rocket League player himself, no, that was cringe, sorry, but I'm going to show you the best pro Rocket League settings from start to finish, and I'll let you know my thoughts because people want me to be descriptive, and I'll tell you guys each setting and why I actually like it, or what I recommend for you guys to do and follow. That'll help you get better at the game, hopefully. Maybe increase that rank a couple of times, go up a couple ranks, you never know. But yeah, that's the video idea. But one other thing, before anything, I did make a shorts channel, and I'm going to link it in the description below. I'm going to be starting to upload on TikTok, and I'm just going to throw those TikToks on the shorts channel. So if you can do me a favor and just check out the shorts channel, maybe toss a sub, I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, sorry for the long intro, but I just had to get that in there. Like, subscribe. You guys have been killing it. Let's keep killing it. Throw the comments, the likes, the subs. Let's keep going. The push to 40K is real. But you know what? Let's just hop in free play, and then we're going to break down the settings. All right? And first of all, free play is your biggest friend out of anything in Rocket League. That's my first tip, my #1 tip. But all right, settings. Here we go. Gameplay. Now, this unlimited boost in free play is honestly a preference type of thing, because I really like having unlimited boost because I can just practice whatever mechanics I want, double touches. But then again, I know a lot of pro players that like to turn it off so they can they won't just like when they hop in game use a million boosts, But for me, I think it's better just because you can go around playing fast, going for reads, and over time that will just help you greatly when it comes to the higher level. But that's the first setting. Now, all this stuff doesn't really matter. Cross-platform. All right, none of this really matters, to be honest. So there's that. Now, the most important, camera. Now, for my recommendation for the camera settings, I would recommend you guys maybe start off with mine settings, and then you tweak them to your preference and see what you're comfortable with. I'm not saying use exactly mine, but start off with mine if you're like, let me tweak this a little bit until you find your perfect settings, right? So first thing is never use camera shake. You will get a headache in less than 3 seconds and you will want to throw up. All right, so field of view. I like keeping mine the furthest because I like feeling fast, I like feeling speedy, and that's what's going to help you the most. See, if I zoom it in, it zooms into my car and my gameplay looks a lot slower. I look like a sloth, and that's not what you want, right? You want to be feeling crispy, you want to be feeling smooth. So that's why higher FOV is better. So I always recommend 110. And for distance, I would recommend anything past 270, like 280 and above is too far, because I think you want it 270 and below. 270 in my opinion is the perfect distance from where you have a good enough distance from your car so you can see a lot of the field, as well as you can see your car enough so you can realize what part of the ball you're hitting with your car. So I'm still close enough to where I know I'm looking at the right front bumper, and I know that's where I want to hit it, so I'm close enough to where I do that. Whereas if I zoom out, like that becomes a lot tougher because I don't have as close as a position to my car as before, right? And then if I go the opposite, if I go closer like this, I barely see the rest of the field, and my vision of my teammates and what's going on around the field is going to be really poor, and that's something that's really important in Rocket League. Half the game is learning and to play around your teammates and be a rotational player, not the entire game is about you, right? So you got to learn to be a team player, and having that distance up so you can see more of the field and inspect your surroundings is definitely going to help. Now, for height, this is again preference. I think if you just do this, you're going to put yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage because this angle makes it really hard for some types of plays, but it makes it really easier. Like for this, like the aerialing is a lot tougher, but the dribbling is going to be a lot better because you can see over the ball. You can see your challenges, your opponent's challenges, I mean. So it's a lot better for 1v1s. But overall, I would not say higher the better. But again, this is preference. So I'd recommend 110 to 100 because again, if you start doing this, look at it, like you're just mowing the lawn at this point. Like it's not going to be helpful. So I would definitely recommend 100 to 110. And then with the angle, you can really mess that around. So if I'm going 110, maybe I go -3, or maybe I go -3. If I go 100, maybe I go -4. Again, the height and the angle are the two areas where you can really mix and match it until you find your personal preference and you're like, okay, this suits me a lot. I like the way this feels, right? So I like to switch mine around from -3 to -4, but that's usually all that I'll go. Now, stiffness. Again, this is really really preference based, because I used to be a high stiffness gamer. I used to use this and I cannot switch off for the longest because I liked being a lot closer to my car, because I really wanted to get specific hard hits, like specific type corner shots, or hit the ball as hard as I can with a certain part of my car. So that's why stiffness is better. But then again, if you go out a little bit, car will zoom out when you hit that supersonic speed, so you'll see a little bit more of the field, and you can scan your surroundings. So recently I actually switched to 0.45 because it's not too far, whereas like 0.4 might be a little bit too far and you're too zoomed out, but it still kind of feels that stiff, close vibe, so you still have a good feeling of your car. And but I recommend the 0.4 to the 0.5 ratio. That is definitely the highest I would go though. Now, swivel speed. So swivel speed, if you do not know, is the speed that your right stick moves. So look, if I do this, look how it goes very fast compared, if you guys can test it for yourself, it goes very fast to where if I'm on just like 1, like look how much slower it is, you know? So if you go back to 7, and one thing is, you'll learn as you rank up in Rocket League, the right stick becomes very important, because if I just took this boost and I think there's a defender behind me, I can use my right stick, click down, see where he's at to make sure I don't get demoed, or to see where he's rotating. If I am going up the left side of the field, I can use my left stick to look left to make sure there's no teammates there or opponents trying to demo me. You know, it's just, you can use it in so many situations. It's one of those kind of skills that you just, or mechanics that you just learn over time, and you learn how to use it, but it becomes very important at a high level. And then for this transition speed, again, this is preference. Some people like having it just where it locks on. I can't do this. I'll literally throw up. I'll get nauseous. I don't know how people do this. But if you want it a little bit faster than default, just a nice little smooth rotation, then I'd recommend 1.2 or 1.3. That seems like the sweet spot for most people, because it's a little bit faster, but you're not cranking your neck and getting whiplash. But, you know, that's, again, it's all preference. All right, controls. Now, this is where I differ a lot from most players. So, as you can see, my steering and aerial sensitivity is super high, and that is because I like to be a very, I guess, fast. I like to feel fast. I like to feel nice and speedy when I'm twirling through the air. But this is literally all preference. I would recommend you start at a lower number. So if you're at a default of 1, I recommend maybe you go to 1.75 and you feel it out, play with it for a bit. Okay, you're like, that's a little bit too fast, let me tweak it from there. And you basically, it's gonna be a tweaking method until you find that sweet spot. Because I tweaked mine a lot, and I've been here for on this sense for like probably like 6 months. So this is, I'm not saying copy mine, but definitely start at a number and start working on it and be like, okay, I feel a little bit too fast, I can't control my car, I'm a little bit too slow, I need to be a little bit faster, and you move it up and down, right? But this is literally major preference, and this is something you're gonna have to find on your own with time and practice. Controller dead zone, I would recommend always 0.1 or lower, but not lower than 0.03, because your controller will start having stick drift and it will just be bad news. Your right stick will start freaking out. It's not really optimized. You have to have a really good controller. So I'd recommend the 0.04 to the 0.1 range. That is definitely the sweet spot. Again, it's preference. You got to figure it out. Dodge dead zone. Now, I would definitely recommend you don't want this on the lower side. So I would say 0.5 or higher. I have mine at 0.7 because backflipping can be really bad. So I had to take a while to find my sweet spot where I felt good, but I wasn't backflipping at the same time. Because if I backflip, it could lead to a goal, an RLCS or something, and you have to be very careful about that. So again, that's something you got to tweak with. This is all preference, controller vibration, you know, ball camera mode. I would always never be on hold. If you're playing on hold, you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage because it just makes the game 10 times harder. But so I would always recommend toggle. All right, interface. So this is all preference. Nameplate scale. All right, so if you guys don't know, sometimes I wear glasses in my videos because my eyesight's kind of bad. So you really need to have good vision and depth of like field awareness. So when someone's down the field, if I have my nameplates really low at like 100, which is default, I believe, I'm not going to be able to see their nameplate, and I'm going to think they're a lot farther than they actually are, but they're actually closer, so they just dust me on a challenge and I lose, boom, bang, just like that. So I recommend, depending on your vision, maybe turning it up a bit and to like past the default and then tweaking it from there. Because I really think that'll help your field awareness and your, you know, just your overall game. All of this is all preference. It's kind of just, you know, stuff you can tweak in game and see if you like it. It's really quick. It's not going to take you like a week to figure out your settings for this. But yeah, audio, before I go to video, is all preference based on your PC, your setup. Same with chat. Now for this, I would recommend, I honestly switch between 239 and uncapped. I think it's just a feeling thing. Sometimes when I feel terrible, I'll just switch to uncapped and it feels good. It's probably just placebo, but you can kind of create those placebos in your head and get away with it. And I actually find that it works, so I do that. For this, I do high quality custom. For all this, you want to have transparent goalposts on. That's the #1 thing you have to have on. Nothing else. Everything else is all optional, but transparent goalposts, you got to have it on, because if you're inside of the net and the ball's in the corner, you want to see that corner instead of if I turn it off, right? Watch. If I turn it off, it becomes a lot harder to see. Like, I'm right here and I can't see it. So I have no clue what's going on in the play, and you always need to know what's going on in the play. So boom, you turn it on just like that, easy peasy. Okay, for the rest of the video, this is all depending on your PC. So I actually have a good PC, but I always like playing on the performance or lower standards just because I want to have the most frames as possible, the best picture. I don't really need to see, like, if I have everything on high quality, I don't really need to see the grass not being cut, which is, you can see the grass is like coming up my wheels, where before it doesn't do that. I have these little particles flying through my face. If I hit the ball, there's 3 lines following it instead of 1. I like just having a smooth, clean gameplay, which is, you see the grass is now cut, everything's cleaner, there's no particles flying in my face, the ball only has 1 line behind it, and it just looks a lot cleaner and smoother. So there's that. Alright, so if you are starting off in the game, I would highly recommend for your 2 priority changes, power slide on L1 and air roll on L1. L1, if you hold your controller, I don't really know how to show, but just like a normal person, you don't really do claw or anything, L1 will be the easiest way, because you can just put your index finger on L1 at all times. If you ever need to reverse, you switch it over to L2. But trust me, this is what made me jump the fastest in terms of skill, or like when I first started playing the game and I first started getting a lot better, because after you learn the muscle memory, it's just so easy, and your hand and your finger will always be on L1, so you'll always be ready to go. It's something that will just take time getting used to, you know, drifting for a ball, starting to air roll, and again, air rolling with those workshop maps that I've shown before. All that kind of stuff will be a lot easier with L1. Again, it's preference, but that's my recommendation. I believe it's the easiest, and most people do it. I've seen people switch boost to R1, but I don't really like that, and I've known people that do that have had really bad wrist problems, so that kind of scares me. But instead of that, I would keep everything else the same. If you want to air roll, if you want a different air roll, like a directional, I would recommend putting an R1. That's what you use that for. And all this is honestly just preference from this point, like scoreboard, all that. I have mine on the share option. But yeah, that's about it for the settings video, actually. I hope I was in depth enough for you guys, and I think for the future I'm going to be starting to do a little bit more 1v1 videos, a little bit more rank analysis like K-Dop and other players, so look for that in the future. But as always, I'm going to ask you guys to please like and subscribe. The channel's been growing. I want to hit 40K really badly. We're close, we're so close, but not really, but I can feel it. So keep killing it, keep the comments, the likes, the subs. It's free. Support your boy. If you guys made it this far, I love you. You're an OG, you're my homie. I really appreciate you guys, and share this video with all your homeboys, you know what I'm saying, or your homegirls. But I'm gonna sign off. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.